Hey everyone, welcome to another video. So in this video, we'll try and understand a GST advisory which was brought about on 4th Jan 2026. And this advisory is on the Specified Premises Declaration Scheme 2025. So before we look into the specifics of this particular advisory, let us try and understand at the outset what a specified premise is. Now, GST 2.0, which came about in September 25, threw some light on specified premises. It is basically a property having a unit of accommodation, providing rooms for rent with a charge of more than 7,500 rupees a particular night, a particular day. So if your accommodation unit provides rooms for more than 7,500 rupees a day, then you are called as a property, you are called a specified premise. And when you are called a specified premise, if you have a restaurant outlet where you sell food and beverage to the people staying in that particular property, then you have to charge GST at 18% and claim the input tax credit of whatever you buy to supply the food and beverage. So a property is called a specified premise if they are offering rooms for a rent of more than 7,500 rupees a particular day and has a restaurant outlet where you are selling, where you are giving food and beverages at 18% GST, where you get the benefit of ITC on your inward purchases. So having understood what a specified premise is, let us now step into the declaration segment. Now for every financial year, you have to declare that your property is a specified premise from 1st April 25. So from 1st April 25, every financial year, you have to file a declaration that you are tagged as that you are eligible for a specified premise and then charge 18% GST on restaurant services. Now, your property will qualify or be eligible to be called a specified premise if, like I said before, in the last preceding year, in the last year, you are giving rooms for rent for more than 7,500 a day, or if you want to declare yourself as a specified premise and pay 18% GST on restaurant services, you can do so voluntarily. So one, your property has a unit of accommodation and in the preceding year, the rooms that you're giving for has a rent of more than 7,500 a day, then you are eligible. That means you qualify as a specified premise and you got to file declaration every year. Or even if your room rent is below 7,500 a particular day and you want to file a declaration to be called a specified premise voluntary, you can do so from 1st April 25 every financial year. Now, the declaration process as set out in the advisory dated 4th Jan 2026 gives you three kinds of declarations. You have the first one, which is Annexure number 7. It is basically for all those properties who are already registered under the GST Act, having a hotel and a restaurant, and want to be tagged under specified premise, or they are charging more than 7,500 rupees a particular day and want to be tagged as a specified premise, can opt in and file a declaration in the form of Annexure number 7. Annexure 8 is basically for a property having hotel and restaurant, but is not yet registered or does not have a GST number as on date, but is in the process of applying for a registration. You can do an opt-in as a special premise along with your registration number that you get in Annexure number 8. And in Annexure number 9, once you're tagged as a special premise, tomorrow if your room rent is below 7,500 a day, then you want to opt out of being called a special premise, because otherwise you'll have to continue charging 18% GST on restaurant service. Normally for food and beverages it is 5% GST, but because you're tagged as a special premise, the food and beverages sold outside of your restaurant should be at 18% GST. Tomorrow, if you want to opt out, you can file Annexure 9, opt out and continue paying 5%, charging 5% GST on food and beverages sold from your restaurant outlet. So these are three kinds of declarations set out in this particular annexure dated 4th of Jan 26. You have Annexure 7, 8 and 9. Let's look on to each of these declarations in detail. Annexure 7 is basically, like I said before, for all those who want to opt in as a specified premise and who has a GST number as on date. The time period to opt in is basically between Jan to March of the preceding financial year. So if you look at 2026-27, the upcoming financial year, the time to make a declaration online in Annexure 7 is basically from 1st Jan 26 to 31st March 26. In this 3 months, any day you have to file declaration to be called a special premise from 26-27, and you can continue charging 18% GST on your restaurant services henceforth. It is a declaration for each of your premises. If you have 5 such properties or 5 such resorts, then you have to file a declaration. You have to file 5 declarations for each premise. And you definitely should have an existing hotel business and a restaurant business, which goes without saying. The next annexure is annexure number 8, and this is basically a opt-in declaration for special premise if you are not obtained a GST registration as on date. So today you are applying for GST registration. The registration application goes through online. You have not yet got an approval. That means you have not yet got or allocated a GST number, but you have received an acknowledgement reference number, ARN. The moment you receive ARN, within 15 days, you can make a declaration in annexure number 8 for opt-in as special premise. So you know that from day one that you get your GST registration, your room rent is anyway going to be 7,500 a day. Let's opt in for special premise. Annexure 8 is that particular declaration form. It should be a valid application in the sense that you apply for registration, and suppose your registration is cancelled, you cannot opt in for special premise. But you submit a registration, it is pending approval or pending satisfaction, you can very well go and opt in, file a declaration in Annexure 8 for specified premise. Definitely goes without saying again, you should have a hotel and a restaurant business or in your particular property. Annexure 9 is not yet made available on the GST portal. What the advisory says is that all these 3 annexures can now be filed online. You go to services, go to registration, go to these specified premise declarations 7, 8, 9, and you can file these declarations online. Annexure 9, however, is not live as of now. Probably in 6 months, 1 year's time, it will be made live, because only once you're a specified premise can you opt out by filing annexure number 9 declaration. So it's an opt out not to be a specified premise, and the time is the same between 1st of Jan and 31st of March of the previous financial year. Some more points which the advisory has stated, dated 4th of Jan 26. What it said is that the declarations are now going to be on the portal. Earlier in 25-26, that is from 1st April 25, the declaration concept was made mandatory. And for 25-26, the first financial year, it was a manual declaration. You got to fill out the declaration, submit it physically. But from 26-27 onwards, it's going to be an online declaration, where you go to the GST portal and either choose for Annexure 7, 8 or 9. And for Annexure 7, if you want to opt in for a specified premise, then you got to do it for 26-27 financial year. You got to do it between 1st of Jan 26 and upcoming 31st of March 2026. And this is right now eligible for a maximum of 10 premises. So if you have 10 properties, you need to file 10 such declarations. That is the maximum limit also. Well, I hope I was able to make things clear in this particular video. If you want more videos like these on regular basis through way of notifications, you could also think of hitting on the subscribe button. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care and thank you.